Hello. Welcome back to the Dinero Twins. This is episode 6, and we have so many good things in store for you guys. We're going to be talking about how to make money through short-term rentals, and I have my twin here with me. Hey, twin.
Hi, twin. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Well, I'm not doing as good as you, who just got back from a mini vacation in Dominican Republic.
You see my tan? You see my tan?
Your tan.
Yes, I got away for a little bit before the holidays and I had so much fun. I was just telling Twin about the experience. It was a beach wedding. Anyways, not to bore you guys with the details, we had an amazing time. Okay.
Awesome. Good to hear. Now we're back on the grind.
Now we're back, better than ever.
Yes. So today, let's talk about short-term rentals. This is definitely a good topic. There's a lot of people trying to learn about it, to get in the game, to make money with it, right? We're both already in the industry, so we definitely have some good stuff to share. So kick it off, twin.
Yes. So the first thing that we want everybody to understand is what is short-term rental, right? Because I feel like when everybody thinks of short-term rental, the first thing that they think about is Airbnb. But Airbnb doesn't describe what short-term rental is. It's just a platform, right? So short-term rental essentially is a furnished, more or less a furnished self-contained apartment or home that, that you open your doors to for people to come and stay, whether that is for a short period of time or even longer period of time. But that's essentially what a short-term rental is. It's more of like a space that you are opening up to host people, whether it's your own home or, it could be a rental property or whatever, because I know there's other ways that to host. But that's essentially what it is. Okay. So with that being said, I want to now break down what the platforms are. So there are different platforms that you can use to host your home or the space, right? And those platforms, of course, is number one being Airbnb. And now Airbnb is probably one of the biggest platforms in today's day and age to pretty much host your home, because Airbnb alone has about 1 million reservations a day. Okay, 1 million reservations a day. So they have the numbers. Okay, now we also have Vrbo, we also have HomeAway, and different other platforms there that also allow you to host and open up your doors to people that are, coming from different countries or even, from domestic travel as well, right, within the States. So those are the different platforms. Okay.
Yes.
Now, I know Twin is going to talk about how to, pick the location and things to look forward to in that sense as well.
Yes. So definitely having a good understanding of what Airbnb is. It really is just a platform, right, that distributes your listings everywhere. But you have other choices. You don't always have to go with just that one. They are the leaders, but there are other choices out there. So the first thing you want to look at when you have decided that you want to join this shared economy as a business or as a side gig is to pick your location. So in picking your location, you're going to have to do some homework. You're going to have to literally get off your laptop and go visit these locations and understand what is there to do for the guest that's going to stay in that area. So it's not just like, one day you woke up and you're like, oh, I want to do Airbnb in, Inwood, uptown New York. Like, what is there to do? You need to understand what's in the area. So things to do is number one, right? Why are people going to go stay in that area? Transportation is another big one. How are people going to get around? Is it a walkable area where people can go around and explore on foot? Are people going to need to use cabs all the time because it is not a walkable situation? Are they going to be able to jump on a train, on a bus? All of those things matter for someone that's coming in to stay in that area, especially if they're not from that location, right? Price point is another big one. So like, how much can you charge in that area versus how much your expenses are? So all of those things, right, tie in together. Any other things, Twin, that you can think of to pick location?
Well, yes, restrictions, right? And understanding how friendly the country, or not the country, the city is to Airbnb or short-term rentals in general, right? Because
Yeah.
we know that as of lately, Airbnb has been banned or has been getting a bad rep. And because of that, there has been a lot of limitations. There's a lot of buildings that are completely banned, and especially there are people that, even though it's banned, they still, do it illegally.
Yeah.
So it's just understanding the laws, and especially, for example, um, in New York doesn't really allow you to do, well, they do allow you to do short-term rentals, but you have to inhabit the same space that you're doing short-term rental in. So for example, let's say you have a two-bedroom apartment or a three-bedroom home, you have to at least be living in one of those bedrooms, and then you can rent out the other two, right? So there are certain limitations to it. I know that can be very uncomfortable for people because, or even in the same house, let's say you have
Yeah.
a family, you live in one floor and then you can rent out the other space. That's also allowed as well. But not everybody has that luxury in New York because most people
Yeah.
are renters, right? um so just understanding what are, not the loopholes, but how can you, not still make sure that you're following the law, but at the same time finding ways to be a good host in these cities, or just even
Yeah.
go to another city that has a little bit more, flexibility.
Yeah, definitely, especially in these times, because again, there's so many people jumping on this shared economy business that, these towns want to get their cut, right? These cities are like, pay me too. Like, you're not just going to host in my city and make all the money and not pay taxes or pay, a leisure tax, a hotel tax, a stay tax. Like, they're just coming up with so many different fees, so many restrictions. So it's very important for you to do your homework on that, and also be in touch with your locality. So like, even if a law is not there yet or a ordinance hasn't been passed, but they're having the discussions to restrict short-term rentals, you need to understand what those potential restrictions could be, right?
Yes.
So very, very important. You don't want to invest your money into getting, your place furnished and getting your place, post listed and investing time trying to get this thing off the ground. And then all of a sudden a restriction can literally wipe out your business.
Wipe
So
out your business, absolutely, especially because, like Twin is saying, it takes a lot of time and money, right? It's an investment, and we're not talking about just a couple $100 and you're in. No, we're talking about a couple thousands,
yeah,
even costs to start your Airbnb business, right? And you also want to make sure that while you're doing your research, you're also looking at the volume of people coming to these places, right? So I keep mentioning New York because we know that New York is very popular. New York has tourism all times of the year. I mean, if
mhm,
we look at the numbers in 2019, we had about 66 million people that traveled to New York. Of
yeah,
course, in the pandemic, that number dropped to half, but even half is still a big number,
right.
right? And of course, everything is opening back up again. So even more people are traveling this year. So you need to understand where you're planning to host. One, if you're going to do it in your own town, look at the numbers, look at the people that are coming, what type of travelers are coming, which we're going to get into that as well. And at the same time, what are they coming for? Okay.
Right.
What are they coming for? And then restaurants, you want to make sure that you keep all of these things in mind to make their experience even better.
Absolutely. Because the goal is to have those same guests come back, right? You want them to come back a second, a third time. Now they've experienced your unit, they love the location, they love what you offer. So you want them to be able to, make your place the regular place to stay. So definitely key. That's key. So yeah, let's talk about picking your niche, which I can never say that word.
Your niche. It's so funny because that word, I was telling Twin there was two ways to say it. It's either niche or niche. But
Yeah.
funny, that word is whatever way you say it is correct. Okay. So
Okay. I don't feel so bad then. I'm like, why can't I say this? Why can't it come out?
it's
All
just
right.
one of
So
those words.
yeah, so identifying your niche, also your segment of business, right? So let's get a little bit into that. We listed a couple of different strategies you can have when it comes to your short-term rental. So I'm gonna go first. So I picked leisure travelers, right? That would be kind of your most popular segment of business. So that leisure travelers are the people that come into town, for one night, 2 night, for the weekend, for the holidays, even during the week, I guess, staycation situations, right? They're like, I took 2 days off of work. I just want to stay in New York and go shopping, see a movie, things like that. So leisure traveler is probably the main segment of business when you do short-term rentals. It's going to require you to do a little more work because you're going to have a little more turnover, right? When it comes to different people coming in, different people leaving, more wear and tear on your unit, just more work. So just be ready for that. You can probably make a little more money, but it's going to require for sure more work.
It's more hands-on for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. More cleaning, more washing towels, more washing the sheets, all of that. Relocations, number 2. So you can decide, what, leisure is not for me. That's too much work for me. I can't handle, an every 2-day situation. So let me just look for relocations, people that are coming in, that are moving into the city from other locations, right? So there's a ton of relocation websites where you can actually, list your unit, list your space, and get them to book through your channel, whatever platform you're using. And these people are coming in, they're moving in. So they're going to require a place for a month or a couple of weeks until their permanent residence is ready or permanent locations rented out. So that's another niche that you can target for sure. And then Lisa, you have a couple, right?
Yes. Now another segment of the business will be business and corporate travel. Okay. And now this one is also very popular, especially if you find yourself in metro cities where, people are usually coming for conferences or things like that. There's a lot of people that travel a lot for work. Now, 26% of the people that book short-term rentals are people that are only coming for, business or corporate settings. It's specifically saying that the trip is for that purpose alone. Now that's 26% of the short-term rental market that's coming for business and corporate. Now, most of those people are only really coming for, it could be a day or two. They're like, literally just have a suitcase or a little bag, right? They're only here for like the weekend and things like that. But you also have, more of your long-term. Now, long-term stays are anything more 30 days or more. Okay. Now this is when you're coming people that have certain projects, right? Architectures, engineers, or even people in the healthcare industry, your nurses. You even have students that are coming to study for a semester or two, right? So now we're getting into more of the longer term stays where the turnover isn't as frequent, right? There isn't much wear and tear into your place. And you also get to have a little bit more control of the quality of people that are coming in. Because that's also one of the things why I feel like the short-term rental market has had such a bad rep, because they always assume that Airbnb, everybody that's booking Airbnb is people that are just coming to party, when in reality, that's not always the sense, right?
Yeah.
So those are really like the 4 main segments. There are other ones that we probably would eventually cover in a different episodes, but these are like the most common ones to look out for when you're looking to pick a niche or a segment in general.
Yeah, no, and that's super important because again, I think a lot of people, they're trying to ride the hype, right? They're like, oh, I hear Airbnb, you can make money. Oh, I want to jump in. Oh, I want to do it too. But then they don't really stop to think of what segment are they going to target. So they open up the system, right? They just put their rate out there, they list their property, and all of a sudden you're getting, groups of people checking in, people that are younger kids, right? Like 18, 19, 20, trying to book their first space out of the home and having gatherings, having parties.
You know what's gonna happen.
You know what's gonna happen. We were all there at one point. So, it's just a matter of like identifying, what niche you're gonna focus on, because that's gonna really make you or break you depending on your level of experience and depending on how much work and how much tolerance you're gonna have for dealing with situations.
Yeah, and it has a lot to do with how hands-on you're looking to be, right? If you're looking to do this passively, and you don't have a property manager, then the one thing that you don't really want is to have such a frequent turnover, because you may have a full-time job or other things that you're working on, and you don't have the time commitment to dedicate upfront to this
Yeah.
business. Right now, if you're looking to jump in, with hands and feet into this, then you probably are okay with having your short-term rentals, which in reality will make you the most money, especially in like metro cities like New York, where rents can be pretty high. You can have a faster turnover, which means more money compared to your longer term stays, right? So it really depends. You can
Right.
do it passively. I prefer more the hands-off approach, where I have people that are staying in for longer term. I only rent out to people that are staying in. The minimum is 30 days, right? I usually have people that have 3 to even 6 month contracts. And it's perfect because I don't
Yeah.
have, they're very low maintenance. They don't bother. So
It's like you have to check up on them, right?
yes, like, are you okay? Like, is everything okay?
Right.
Right. Do you need
Yeah.
anything? But it's been super blessed experience for me, because I can say the people that I've had come in from different states have been so convenient to host.
Good, good. Yeah, same here. I have traveling nurses, like we mentioned earlier. The same thing. Like I don't hear from them. I have to be like, hey, do you need anything? Like,
Exactly.
any
They sleep most of the
yeah,
time.
like any cleaning supplies? Like, are you there? Is everything okay? Everything's working okay? Like, so definitely a good experience. But yeah, you got to identify what your level of involvement is going to be for sure. Yeah, and that takes us right into the next segment, which is servicing the unit,
Hmm.
right? This is
Now,
where,
this is very interesting, and I think this is probably the most important part, because yes, you can furnish it, you can have an amazing unit, stage it really well, but then you don't know how to control the volume that you're getting, right? And now you're like, okay, well, what do I do? Like, do I have enough towels? Do I have, the proper cooking equipment, or whatever the case is, right? So
yeah,
servicing is a big part, and that has a lot to do with picking your niches. You know that if someone's coming for a business trip, they're not looking to cook, right? So
right,
they don't care about having a fully equipped kitchen. But if you're having people that are coming for longer stays, then you want to make sure that your house is livable, like if you were living in the home, right? So you
right.
want to put yourself in that home and make sure that it's furnished, that it has all the equipments for people that are, intended for longer term stays. So it has a lot to do with picking your segments, your niche. But I feel like overall customer service is immaculate. It has to be on point, because your business really relies on reviews, right?
Right.
You are ranked, for example, in a platform like Airbnb, they reward you for having good ranks. So the higher, the more stars you get from your host or from your guests, the
Hmm.
better it is for other people to reach you. They'll put you in a better rank, and you'll be more visible to people to
Yes.
book your place.
Yeah, yeah, and that customer service doesn't come naturally to a lot of people either. So like, we're in the service business because we deal with people all the time, and our personalities, I think, helps that too. But there are people that clearly do not like dealing with people or situations, or like, they're not as accommodating or like flexible.
That's so
So
true.
if you know that that's your personality and you don't have the patience to deal with someone who's going to text you every 5 minutes needing an assistance from you for your units, then maybe this is not the business for you, right?
Mhm.
Or maybe you need to get a co-host, someone
Yeah, you
else
need a
that's
co-host, a property
right.
manager, and kind of like step back and let that person be the
Yes.
source of communication.
Right. And I know that, some people, for the most part, I think travelers are good, easygoing, happy guests that are just happy to be in the area. But you're going to get your grouches. You're going to get the people that are like hardcore. I need attention all the time. Like everything bothers me. I don't like this towel. I don't like these sheets. Like the crazies, as I call them. But, you got to be able to handle that. So, and if
So
you can't handle that, you're gonna have to get someone to help you because customer service has to be on point.
absolutely.
No.
And you also have to understand, like, they're coming to you because one, they're looking for affordability, right? They don't want to stay in a hotel because a hotel feels, I don't know, when I stay in a hotel, I feel kind of like robotic. There's
Yeah.
no sense of personality, it's just sterile, like it's just there, right?
Hmm.
But when you're staying in someone's home, it's a personal touch, it's intimate, right?
Yeah.
So, and people are also looking for convenience. Okay, so how's your check-in procedure? How easy it is, like, are you going to be flexible to accommodate them if they're checking in earlier or if they want to check out later, right? So people are looking for these things, and those are also things for you to charge
Yeah.
extra for, by the way. Parking. There's so many things that
Hmm.
people don't really think about when someone's staying. See, I stayed in many Airbnbs around the world. So when I transferred to now being a host, I knew from my experiences in staying what the Airbnb that I have is going to look like, right? So if you're
Hmm.
somebody that's new to the space, first of all, if you never even stayed in an Airbnb, that should be your first homework. Stay in an
Right.
Airbnb, and it doesn't have to be travel around the country to stay in one. You can stay in one locally, right? But
Yes.
see what it's like. Take notes. What do they do? How do they communicate? Right? Is the host themselves communicating, or are you talking to a property manager? I think that will be something that would literally help you in you opening up your own business in the short-term rental space.
That's great advice. Great, great, great advice. Yeah, you gotta experience it firsthand. Like,
Mhm.
most people don't even know that when you check into an Airbnb, you're gonna look right away, look for the handout, right? The whatever is posted on the wall or that's what
Yes.
I look for is like, okay, what are they supplying? What information are they giving me so that I know what's in the area? Where do
Mhm.
I get my coffee in the morning? Where can I go eat? Right? How can I get on the
Yes.
transportation? What's my Wi-Fi password? Like, I want
Yes,
to
the
know,
Wi-Fi.
you know? So like all these things have to be in one sheet of paper or like on a frame somewhere. And that already tells me that that Airbnb host is on point. They're organized. They know what the traveler is looking for. But if I walk into a unit and I can't find anything and I'm like, now I got to text this lady a
Now
hundred
I gotta
times.
bother them. Exactly. Mhm.
Now I'm like, you know what? I'm probably not going to come and stay here again. So yeah.
Absolutely. So, Twin, let's talk about our personal experience, right? So, what has been one of the most challenging moments that you had hosting?
Oh man. So the first month of hosting, I had traveling nurses, two of them, staying in my unit, and the town we lost power in the town. There was like a really bad rainstorm, and it was in the middle of winter,
Wow.
so no power for like probably like 32 hours or something, like a whole day and the next day, and it was cold. I couldn't provide heating. Like it was so bad. I even offered to pay for a hotel nearby because I was like felt terrible about it. And they were like, "No, we're fine. We'll cope. We'll handle it." But they like slept in their coats, and I was like, I felt so bad about it. But it was outside of my control. It was something that happened. We literally had to wait for the utility company to just turn it back on, and went on with our day. But it was really frustrating for me because I was like, constantly checking, like, okay, is it up yet? Is it up yet on the app? But yeah, that was I think the worst.
Wow. And it's so interesting because it's like when it I feel like it feels worse when you don't have control over it, you know? I mean,
Right.
actually it doesn't feel as bad because if you do have control over something, then that's different, but you don't have control over that, like the power going off. And I'm pretty sure it just wasn't your unit. There was other
Oh, it
places.
was
Oh,
right. Yes, the entire block. So at least I was happy that they were understanding.
yeah.
You
I
know,
was
I
just
had a Yeah,
Mhm.
and I offered, to relocate them, but they didn't want to do that. So it worked out, but I mean, it was something out of my control. So it's bound to happen, for anyone
Absolutely.
in this space. You know how it is. So any one bad experience you've had,
Well, one
or challenging, I should say, experience?
challenging, I think for me it has been I've had a couple ones, and wow, the couple seemed very nice, but they didn't, I don't even want to use the word dirty. but
They
they
were
just
dirty.
are trying to be proper, but they just, I don't know what the, like, you would think that 4 people were living in that room. It was
Wow.
just the sheets were black. And mind you, they were only they weren't really there for like no, they were there for a month. But compared to other people I've hosted, I
Yeah.
was just like, they left the trash. Mind you, none of the rules were followed. It was just, and their excuse was, and it wasn't really her, it was more the guy,
Yeah.
was, oh, we expected someone to come and clean like every other day. I was like, no, sir, that's something you have to pay extra for, right? You pay
Yeah.
for cleaning so you can have your unit, clean, and also to pay the cleaners after you leave. But that's not how it works. And mind you, he has stayed in other Airbnbs before. But I
Yeah.
think that's also my fault. I think I didn't really look into the reviews that they had from other hosts before,
Oh.
because I've noticed that, and I was like, how did I miss this? I saw that they had a review that it was the same thing. They left
Mm.
the place like a mess. And I was just like, oh, that was such, my newbie mistake for me to
Yeah.
make.
Yeah.
Look at the reviews, whoever you're staying with. And then some people don't even have reviews, or you see the reviews too late and you're
Yeah.
like regretting it. But I think look at the reviews. And if you feel like people will probably treat your space differently, then you have to set that expectation up front. Like, listen, if this is how you're going to treat the space, and I'm going to have no other choice but to charge you extra for cleaning and things like that.
Right. Right. And that very good point. But also, let's make sure we go back after the visit, after the stay, and add a review to their pages too, because that's going to help other
Yes,
hosts
that's definitely something
identify.
that I did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, don't be afraid to go back in and be like, because the same way they're reviewing your unit, you're reviewing them as a guest as well, which is,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And they wanted to come back. Can you believe that,
Oh,
Twin? They were
heck
like, we love
no.
your place. We want to come back. But actually the girl reached out to me. She's like, I'm no longer with him. I was
Oh,
like, if it's
Lord.
you, then that's a little bit more reasonable. But if it's the both of you, I was like, he's no longer allowed in this space. Like,
That's
I
right.
don't want him near anything. If I see that he's around, the contract's like, but luckily it didn't even work out. She wasn't
Okay.
even able to leave the country because she wasn't vaccinated. So it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to
Right.
be.
Right. But it's okay. So we learned from all of these, these
Either,
challenges.
oh
It's a
wow,
learning experience.
I've learned tremendously being in this space. And for anybody that's looking to get into it, don't do it alone. I would say, work with somebody, have a coach or a mentor that's been in the space to guide you, because trying to do it alone isn't it, especially if
Right.
you don't have the time. Learning from other people's mistakes can help you avoid a lot of mistakes that can cost you money and time.
Absolutely.
And a lot of energy, and it's funny because I didn't get to mention to Twin earlier, but I'm going to be releasing out a book that's going to talk about, Airbnb, what to look forward to when you get into the
Yay.
space. So look out in the description, because I'm going to be putting the link. By the time you guys are watching this, it should have already be launched. I was gonna wait, to the beginning of the year, but because I really appreciate the people that support us, I want to make sure that they get this and get started, right? Learn as much as
Yes.
you still have 3 weeks left until 2022. So when you start the year, you get to start on a new foot.
Yes, I love it. Congrats, twin. That's awesome news. Listen,
Thank
I'm
you.
here for it. I'm here for it. The key here is that whatever experiences you and I have, we need to be able to share that. So, this podcast and this YouTube channel is obviously, a good way to have the conversation, but the goal is to, put the information forward. So an ebook, a class, a workshop, whatever we can do
Yes.
to get people to get that money,
Get
right?
that money. Dinero, dinero,
That's right.
dinero.
We need to have a ching like button or something over here.
Yes. So honestly,
Awesome.
this is just more of the general perspective when it comes to Airbnb. We would literally drown you guys in so much information, but we want to make sure that we at least simplify it to the point where you feel confident to get started, because it's a great space. But do keep in mind that there are certain restrictions, and I know places. I mean, Twin, you were talking about Philly, right?
Yes.
they're tightening up the restrictions, and other places around the world and the country will also start doing that as well. It's kind of like, copycat effect, but
Yeah, yeah.
there's so many other ways for you to start and do it, because it's something that can give you or generate you that passive income as well.
Absolutely, yes. The short-term vacation rental space is not going to go away. It's just a matter of, perfecting the system, finding other ways to host your space, to get your clients, to provide really good service. I see this thing going in other directions, like people might even stop using these platforms and create their own, or,
Mhm.
focus more on social media marketing, so focus more on Google ads, things like that. So there's a lot of other ways that you'll be able to get around it, So
Yeah, that's so
but
true.
it's not going away. So definitely get your money.
Get that dinero, guys.
That dinero.
We really do hope that everyone walked away with something valuable today. We wanted to share our experiences. We want to share everything for the most part that we know about this space, and just helping you guys get on your way there. Okay, so if you haven't already done so, check out our previous episodes, and don't forget to subscribe.
Yes, please subscribe, hit that like button and that little bell, and also turn on your notifications. This way once our episodes are up, right?
Absolutely. So Twin, do we have any last comments for everyone?
No. Let's just start. We're getting ready for the holidays. So everyone, stay safe out there. Don't spend too much money.
Don't spend too much. Make sure you budget.
Make sure you budget. Yes. But until next time, we'll be back on Wednesday again.
Awesome. See you guys on Wednesday again. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, Twin.
Twin.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you found great value in the content shared. Make sure to tune in again every Wednesday, and to also share our podcast link with anyone who can benefit from the information. Till next time, adios.